belong to the bar. The bar is a bourgeoisie, middle class, highty-tighty association, you know, in my humble opinion.
Police are swiftly enforcing state of emergency regulations. In San Pedro, where a mother and daughter have the virus, 3 persons were charged with breach of curfew conditions. This is because their children were out after 6 p.m., which is not allowed on the island during this period. They were fined $500, and if the fines were not paid by the end of today, there is a penalty of 1 month imprisonment. Fisheries personnel were on patrol on Sunday when they came across a vessel with 4 persons who threw their cargo of 132 whole lobsters overboard. As you may know, the lobster season is closed at this time and reopens until June, so fishermen shouldn't be harvesting lobster. The 4 persons found on the vessel are boat captain Derek Gorosica, Paula Coleman, Caliherb Blanco, and Leon Joseph. Only Blanco pleaded guilty to the charge, but Captain Gorosica remains detained for an outstanding fisheries fine from a previous offense. Hampton Gamboa shares details of the bust.
Officers were on routine patrol from our Marine Reserve base in Twin Keys, South Waterkey Marine Reserve, heading to Belize City along the reef when they came across a fishing vessel, and apparently there were individuals in the water. An officer observed that, decided to stop and search the vessel. The vessel chose to take off, throw what appears to be a cocoa sack over the side of the vessel, and they took off driving. Officers retrieved the bag, continued to chase the vessel threw out another bag. So there were 2 cocoa sacks that officers had to retrieve. Fortunately, we were able to catch up with them because of the vessel we were in. Upon coming across them, there were 4 individuals, 3 males and 1 female, all who were in the water. Well, so all 3 individuals have been taken to court today to answer the charges of possession of lobster during the closed season. They were large lobsters and they were whole, all right? So the totaling 132 lobsters, all right? Individual lobsters that was found. We made a request to the court for seizure of the vessels, which the court granted. So it's a 25-footer fiberglass vessel with a brand new 75 engine horsepower Yamaha engine on it.
These fisher folk, they don't have a license?
Yes, they all have license. So hence the reason why, actually that's the reason why we requested the boat. The boat itself hasn't been licensed for this year as yet. So then based on that also made us decide to ask for confiscation of the vessel.
So in a case like this, would their license be revoked?
Good question. I picked that matter up with my prosecutor this morning, and in addition to that, the administrator will look into that because now with the new fisheries law that has been passed 14th of February this year, it is at the fisheries administrator has the right to do such, whether it's a suspension or revoke over a period of time depending on the repeating offenders, right? So yes, that will be, the department will definitely look into that going forward within the next week or so.
A ballpark figure of the market price of this bust is between $2,500 and $3,500. Gamboa notes that the Fisheries Patrol team and the Coast Guard will be on patrol during the state of emergency. There's no definitive period to say when the COVID-19 pandemic will be over, but most people agree that it will take months for economic activity to normalize. In the meantime, the COVID-19 contagion continues all over the world. Spain today reported the highest number of deaths in one day, and the number of cases in the United States is still spiraling. As you know, U.S. visitors account for the biggest numbers in the tourism industry here. Today, the major cruise lines pushed back their dates to resume sailings. According to the BTB, cruises on Carnival Cruise Line are suspended until May 11, 2020. Norwegian Cruise Line to the second week of May 2020. MSC Cruises have been suspended until May 29, 2020, and Royal Caribbean Cruises to May 12th. so we won't be seeing cruise ships on the port before May. At today's press conference, while on the topic of essential services, the head table was asked about cable companies and internet service providers. A large chunk of the workforce will be telecommuting. Students will be online with schoolwork, and others will spend their time surfing the net or browsing various social media platforms, and even binge watching their favorite shows and movies on Netflix. The leader of the opposition, John Briceño, was also asked about the integrity of the internet infrastructure.
The increase has doubled, but what has helped is that the major companies like Netflix and Google, and they already have servers in Belize, so what we're using is the local bandwidth, and so the bandwidth that they used to go outside is now limited. So from what they have for the time being, they do have enough. Maybe they might need later on some more, but for the time being, I think we'll be okay.
Can you clarify whether cable and internet companies fall under public utilities, and if not, will any consideration be given to place these companies under essential services?
Well, consideration will be given to those service providers. The leader of the opposition had indicated to me today before the press conference started that he would like to have a discussion on that. Currently, they are not, but when we considered public utilities, we meant those that were monitored by the Public Utilities Commission.
After the break, a compensation package for health workers, but not for bus operators.
Buenos días. 2 boletos para Titicaca, por favor. ¿Ida y vuelta? 54.
Ese dinero es falso.
¿Falso?
Sí, este billete es falso.
¿Y por qué es falso?
Porque un verdadero billete de $50 tiene una marca de agua en la forma de un jaguar con la marca de agua y electrotipia de denominación y un hilo de seguridad.
Conozca su dinero. Reconozca el billete falso al verlo. No se confíe en solo una de las características de seguridad. Busque la claridad y calidad de la impresión. Las líneas y el color impresos deben ser nítidas y claras. Sienta la calidad del papel y de la impresión levantada. Ponga el billete a la luz y observe. El hilo de seguridad avantanillada debe formar una línea completa cuando se pone a la luz. La marca de agua y la electrotipia de denominación, el Jaguar, es la marca de agua en los billetes de $100 y $50. El gigante dormido es la marca de agua en los billetes
Health workers who are at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19 are being taken care of by government, which has made available a compensation package that will cover unforeseen expenses, including the cost of domestic services. While a $10 million contribution from Lord Michael Ashcroft was set aside for the procurement of health equipment, those monies have somewhat been repurposed to aid with the compensation package. PM Barrow explains.
The compensation aspect of things for those who will have to be housed other than in their own homes for a particular period, who will have to pay for babysitters and who will have to outsource other domestic services that they normally would have been doing themselves. There is enough money to deal with all of that. At last check, well, let me break it down for you very quickly. There is the 10 million from Lord Ashcroft, although I believe he heard me when I said that we're perhaps getting more than ample monies for the battle on the health front, but not enough with respect to the economic collapse that has been precipitated and all those who have lost their employment and their livelihoods, because I see that a press release suggests that that 10 million will sustain a mix of flows, some as well to deal with the economic aspect of things. But if I'm going to talk in the round, let's say that that 10 million is principally reserved for health.
Unlike health workers, bus operators believe they're being left out in the cold when it comes to support during this pandemic. Today, Secretary of the Belize Bus Association called to say that they're puzzled about the Prime Minister's response to a question about relief for the bus industry. Ewart Mesgen says that during the live press conference, the PM claimed that the bus operators were asking for too much. According to Mesgen, that is not so, and that he provided operational costs for a week to give the Oversight Committee an idea of how much it costs to keep their operators on the road. Mesgen says that they would at least want some help when it comes to the fuel, because that represents a chunk of their costs. Here's how he explains it.
What we were asking for too much, and they're looking at it to see what sort of assistance they can give. But what we kind of, I don't know how it was presented to him, but what happened is we were asked to put together a complete like the overview of financials for the different bus operators and send it off to the Department of Transport so that it could have been sent to the FinSec now to see what sort of relief bus operators could have gotten. But from him saying what he said, that we were asking for too much, what we sent, we know that we can get what we sent on paper, but what we sent there was for them to see the operational cost of each operator and what we are losing. And if they look at the figures, they'll see that the fuel costs compared to what we pay in salaries is twice that of what we pay in salary. So our direct concern is the fuel part. We need, if we have to continue operating out there, if it's even one or two buses, we still need the assistance of the government, even now more that the state of emergency has been put in place. There'll be even less people to transport on the roads. So, and the operators, we can't continue to take the losses. Our finances, the little that we had, is drying up. So we need some sort of, if at least from the fuel point of view, we need that assistance. To us, we feel like we're being pushed aside and that we're not being taken seriously, that operate the bus that we don't matter any at all. So through this medium, I'd like to say to the PM, I mean, the figures that were given to you, we know that you all can't give us that, but what we send to you is for you all to see the expenses that we are going through day to day. And the figure sent for 7 days, operational cost for 7 days for each individual company that is still operating. If they can give us 50% of the fuel cost, if they could give us the fuel duty-free, meaning take away the taxes from it, and let's say maybe we get the fuel for maybe $5.50 a gallon or something, that will go a long way. Because the extra money that we're saving from off that, we can use maybe to pay our employees.
The Social Security Board has positioned itself to mitigate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The SSB says that it remains committed to safeguarding the health, safety, and well-being of its staff, customers, and stakeholders. Several measures are in effect, including the amendment to the benefits regulation. With thousands of individuals losing their jobs due to COVID-19, the Social Security Board has taken a necessary measure in order to provide sickness benefit coverage to unemployed workers who become sick as a result of COVID-19. Manager of Corporate Customer Relations Service, Chandra Cancino, explains.
What we have done is waived some of the qualifying conditions for recently unemployed persons to be able to qualify to collect sickness benefit should they be diagnosed with COVID-19. So what does that mean? That means if Hippolito was recently terminated and he gets COVID-19, God forbid, I hope you never get it, Hippolito, then you would still be able to make a sickness benefit claim with Social Security, as long as you meet the other qualifying conditions, which would be that you were previously employed within, probably, we'll set, I think the date is March 15th, that you were employed before that, but you're no longer employed as a result of the measures taken for COVID-19, then your sickness benefit will be paid until you recover from COVID-19. So we just wanted to reassure workers that are very concerned, they say, well, no, the family, no. One of the qualifying conditions for sickness benefit normally is that you're employed. And so we didn't want them at their most vulnerable time to not be covered. So the diagnosis is limited to COVID-19, but it's related to the very pandemic that we are experiencing right now. So you have an opportunity there.
And those benefits are tied to the salary that individual was earning?
Yes, it's tied to the salary that they were making prior to their termination. And it's related now, this is Social Security benefits. This is not unemployment.
All entry points into the country were closed on March 23rd except for cargo. As you know, commercial flights, cruise ships have been suspended and the movement across the borders is restricted. But a number of Belizeans were not able to make it back home at the time that the measures came into effect. On average, 10 Belizeans are returning home on a daily basis through either the PGIA or other official border crossings.
It's fluctuating. I guess immigration has a better grasp of counting all those, but it's significant. I didn't know so many Belizeans were out, but even on the weekend, we had at least 9 people coming per day, coming back home.
On a daily basis?
At least.
Okay,
yeah,
so
up to yesterday, I think even the quarantine facility in Corozal was almost full. This morning, people are being placed in self-quarantine, mandatory quarantine now. We cannot discourage Belizeans from coming back. And again, there might be exceptions to the rule. I mean, yesterday we had somebody who had open heart surgery outside of Belize 8 days ago and is coming back. We are aware of cancer patients undertaking treatment somewhere else that are now starting to come back.
The third victim to have been diagnosed with the coronavirus returned to Belize from New York on March 20th before showing symptoms of illness 5 days later. While the 38-year-old man was said to have been in self-isolation since his return to the country, there have been questions about his whereabouts before he tested positive for COVID-19, including the suggestion that he may have been out and about in Belize City carrying out a few errands in the days leading up to his diagnosis. That question was put to DHS Manzanero.
I haven't gotten that report from the people who did the mapping. I know of an outing where he went out to the health facility, drove himself, and this is again the report that we have. People will lie in that regard. That's when he went to get swabbed on the Friday and came back to where he was self-isolating.
Okay, Can you clarify your statement yesterday that of interest, and those are my words, are two people who traveled with him? Did he come, you said he came on a flight, but are these passengers who were on that flight with him or people who are actually in his company?
No, a different flight, but apparently were same address or close address in New York.
At this time, there is no cure or vaccine for COVID-19, and it is not expected that one will be approved until maybe 18 months down the road. During his appearance on Open Your Eyes this morning, Director of Health Services Dr. Marvin Manzanero said that the country will not return to some sense of normalcy anytime soon.
Without frightening anybody, I mean, we have to take the necessary precautions. I mean, there will be a new norm. It is. I mean, when people ask me, when will I be able to go across the border for whatever reason, I don't know, because what happens if we lock down 30 days, but let's say Chetumal, which is closer perhaps to most than, and it's bigger in terms of Melchor, for example. I'm using those two communities because of their border crossing. What happens if they start to have their curve in May, like what the US is having, right? So how long is it going to take for their curve to go down? Like if you ask anybody right now who wants to go to the US, nobody is perhaps thinking of going to the US. And that curve is not going to start to come down till maybe July, August. So you may not be thinking of going there for the next 3 or 4 months. It may be the same thing across the border. Guatemala just extended their curfew for 14 more days, and that's because Petén doesn't have ongoing transmission. But what happens if their transmission starts in July, August, I mean, and their curves start to go up? So even if nothing happens here, we don't live in a bubble, right? It's fluid. I mean, it's volatile. It's changing. So we need to start making the necessary provisions to ensure that whatever we are doing, social distancing, hand washing, not touching your face, if you're ill, you stay home, those things are going to be there forever. I don't think that that's going to change.
When we come back, we'll tell you about creative activities that can keep you preoccupied and safe at home during the state of emergency.
Sip, sip, sip.
There's a small non-governmental organization that is making a difference in the lives of children living with disabilities. Adopt a Child with Disability is a non-profit operating out of Belmopan and San Ignacio. The program provides children with a range of therapy services, from physical therapy to occupational therapy, all at a fraction of the cost. Reporter Andrea Polanco has been working on a longer form piece about this non-profit, but tonight we share a portion of our visit to their Belmopan clinic. Here's that story.
Baby Casiana Castillo and her mom, Sandra Garcia, have been attending physical therapy sessions through the Adopt a Child with Disability nonprofit organization in Belmopan. At the time of this interview, Casiana was 3 months old, and she'd started doing therapy about a week after she was born. Casiana was a breached baby.
I didn't know that they just pull her out by one hand, by her shoulders. So then till a couple of minutes after, when I see her and I hold her, and then I say, oh, but she only move one hand. The pediatrician reach, and then I tell her, this baby will only cry. I tell her, no, move her hand. Her hand is, you would call it limber. So, she come and she, he look at her and move her hand and say, all right, well, this baby, he need therapy, tell me. So she told me she will need therapy. It's her muscles, he say.
Hearing that a newborn baby needs therapy to be able to use one of her limbs can be a little scary and stressful. But for Casiana and her mom, the weekly pediatric physical therapy with Adopt a Child with Disability program has made a big difference.
The laser that from way up here, from her neck, go down. And that I noticed it help a lot, because when I first bring her, it couldn't move her hand, none at all. And so I get worried, I made wonder if it may ever move her hand. But now it don't lift up. It is slightly have that bend in her hand, but still it from the wrist, it still like have it downwards this way. But it just have 3 months that we did do this.
Now, do you believe that if you didn't get this kind of help for her at an early age, maybe she would grow up with a disability?
Yes, definitely, because they told me that if I am never may bring she, then her hand may I get used to being that straight way without moving it. It helped a lot, because without that, I don't think maybe a hand may move, but then told me that her nerves they rupture, so it made her really bad, because she actually made in a pain. Whenever you move her hand and put on her clothes and things, it made in a pain.
And that is why for the past 3 years, the Adopt a Child with Disability nonprofit is helping children with disabilities from newborns to age 13. The organization offers early intervention therapy to try to improve the children's physical ability to function. Physical therapist Juan Pablo Collado is the founder.
Most of the children that we treat have neurological disabilities, some sort of like cerebral palsy. We have children with Down syndrome. We have children with specific diagnoses that are more complex. But we have children that are normal neurologically, but also have suffered from injuries, perhaps amputations, fractures, and many other physical limitations that they may suffer due to accidents or trauma. We would use different techniques. Bobat, we use specific neural development techniques to stimulate the child to develop to the next phase that he's supposed to. Some children are capable of improving to the point that they can be functional and they can be integrated into society and be productive citizens. For example, putting groceries in a bag and being able to be independent eventually. And some kids have very significant limitations that what we can only do is improve their quality of life.
Like 2-year-old Destiny Tessakum, she was born with a severe type of spina bifida, where she's unable to walk. She's been enrolled in the physical therapy program for about a year. The affordable cost and the central location helped to ease the burden on her father.
Had 3 emergency surgery at birth. Was told that she was not going to make it, and here she is now, 2 years and change now. Been coming to this institution for almost a year, and I have seen major improvement in her foot. The service and the affordability helps us a lot. We don't have to travel to Belize City a lot. Now we come direct to this location, and I'm a couple miles away from the institution, so we don't have a problem coming to the institution once every week, or whenever I cannot make it. Then due to her condition, sometimes the weather change and we cannot make it, so I inform them that we cannot make it, and they do the changes for us.
But not many parents who have a child with disability will seek this kind of help. Collado says that while progress has been made when it comes to disability services in Belize, the issues of shame and stigma associated with disability are still prevalent. And he hopes that by having this central location in Belmopan, where children can get quality therapy for a small fee, that it will help to encourage parents to get help for their children.
The culture is very limited in education towards the disability. A lot of the parents in rural areas would think this is a curse to their families. They're ashamed of their kids. They don't know that this is something that could happen to every individual, either religious belief, economic levels. Disability affects everybody in Belize. And there's children all over Belize. There's hundreds of children that are in need and have no access to this type of services. We have been treating over 30 children that come to our clinics 2 to 3 times a week, and we have seen a significant improvement in these kids. We take out the kids so that people are aware of what is going on, and that disability in our children is something that we have to embrace, and we have to approach it in a proactive way. And this is what Adopt a Child with Disability is doing, is doing something for these kids and trying to integrate them socially, and also to eliminate the taboo that a children with disability is a curse or is possessed.
This nonprofit started out offering free cost of therapy for children in need, but the demand for the service has put a strain on the nonprofit's resources. They now rely on grants to subsidize the cost of maintaining the service. Each parent, where possible, pays a small fee between $5 and $10 to help sustain their important work.
In our part, for now, we're focusing on their physical abilities, and hopefully we can create a difference, and these children can later be testimonies so that this is a movement and a service that is needed. So hopefully we were able to grow and continue improving the quality of life of children with disabilities in Belize.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
If you want to find out more about this nonprofit or want to help them make a difference, you can look for Adopt a Child with Disability on Facebook. For 30 days, starting midnight on April 1st, the nationwide shutdown restricts non-essential businesses from opening and non-essential workers from moving around in an effort to prevent the possible spread of COVID-19. School-aged youths are already at home and will be joined by working adults. But there are innovative ways to occupy time, including camping inside your yard, board games, home workouts, and house movie nights. One organization, Rumaje Mas, has teamed up with the Belizean and international disc jockeys to put off virtual fits in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Following a successful event last week, on Thursday, they're back again, and you can join the party online via Facebook or Instagram. News 5 Today spoke with co-founder Demi Williams about the upcoming event.
We do events on a regular basis. So at least twice a month you could expect for us to have a physical party. So since we have this quarantine in effect and we want to promote social distancing, we decided as a group that the party doesn't necessarily have to stop. So we joined in with several of our other partners from outside to do virtual fits. So we teamed up our DJs, because we do have a DJ team, and we decided that we are bringing the party to your house. So no excuses and by any means necessary, and also because Belize needed it. Everyone was home, just the moprong. A lot of people had lost their jobs. And we wanted to give them some form of entertainment and to be interactive with them still, so our fans know that, hey, we're still here. You could go on our Facebook page or our Instagram page, and the live feed is available on both ends. So we teamed up with Vibe Day and Night Club. Since Vibe had to close down as well, the No Fear DJs, they hopped on board with us, and we did a collaboration to bring this live feed to both our fan bases. And what's interesting is that this week we want to see our fans. We want to see them. So we're creating a live hub, like a meeting space. So the tools that you would use for work, we're gonna repurpose those, we're gonna recycle that. And we wanna see our viewers and we wanna see them have fun. And it's good for the DJs to actually see their audience so that they know how to juggle a crowd. Because when you're in a club, you go by what your people are doing. So if they're not a dance, they're not a feel a song. And so if we could actually see them and they could see us, we could still have that personal connection.
One teacher says that being at home with children who are out of school is an opportune time to do fun, safe activities in the yard. Tremont Perriott over the weekend started a quarantine karaoke challenge where friends would post videos of them doing covers to different songs. He says that Belizeans must get creative while keeping safe and occupied.
Karaoke, it's just fun. I was running out of stuff to do and I wanted to sing karaoke, and although I put a post about professional zoning and stuff, it's not really for that. I'm playing around with people. And so far it's been very fun. We've gotten a good response from a lot of people that sing. I would want more. I mean, it's good entertainment, clean entertainment. And it keeps you busy. It takes a while to record and put this stuff together, so before you know it, the evening's up. And you get to socialize with people that, you know, that are in the same field and same mentality as you, staying positive. Unlike a lot of young people, I'm an older cat, so I have all sorts of stuff that I need to do. I mean, the work for me, zombie apocalypse body. You know, I have stuff around the house that I want to do. Plus, the work that I do is still in the process of trying to figure a way forward, no? And so it's been very busy. Surprisingly, you'd say you have all the time in the world. You don't have a lot of time. We're staying busy. My daughter is at home. She's doing her homework, so I have homework. I have homework too. You know, I plan to go camping this evening. We'll see what I feel like. But other than that, you know, it's just keeping yourself busy, doing the things around the home that you never got time to do. And if you have the yard space, and some people have 3-4 children, they can play in the yard. They don't have to socialize with anyone else except themselves. So it's just a matter of finding the ways of how you're used to do it and putting them back in place.
Coming up after the break, IDB discusses COVID-19 and the Caribbean.
En la vida siempre hay más de un lado.